an embodied flow today. Today's embodied flow incorporates boundaries, so embodied boundaries, and acknowledging our boundaries in a way that inhabits our body. So embodiment means we're actually living or incorporating all aspects of ourselves into this concept or into this virtue through the body, because how we experience the world and how we interact with the world happens with our body, not to our body, but as a body. Let's start off lying down on the mat. And let the feet be as wide as the mat, let the knees rest in towards each other. And take your hands to the bottom ribs in the front, lightly placing your hands there. First, we'll begin to inhabit our body through our breath, our internal support system. So we're inhabiting our bodies as we acknowledge the three-dimensionality of our physical being from the inside out. So with each inhale, breathing first with the attention to the front of the ribs, expanding out on the in-breath. And the ribs hugging in on the out-breath. 2 more times here. Okay, so right now we're bringing ourselves to ourselves and mapping out the perimeters of our physical body from the inside with the breath. After that last breath for that round, slide your hands to the outside of your ribs. If you want, you can cross at your forearms and your wrists, opposite hand to opposite side, giving yourself a hug of self-care and love. Inhale fully, not forcefully, into the sides of your ribs with the in-breath. Acknowledging your three-dimensional borders and boundaries. Exhale. Imagine the ribs hugging in as an acknowledgement of self, of your boundaries, of your meaningful boundaries. 2 more full cycles of breath there. Relaxing your face, allowing this to be an embodied practice. Embodying meaning inhabiting, experiencing the world as a body. And we'll slide our hands underneath to the bottom ribs, to the bottom 2 ribs, using the back of your hands and the ground for feedback. Breathing fully, inhale, back of the ribs to your hands. Exhaling, softening inward, belly in and up, creating more length through the crown of the head. About 4 more times here. This area could be more tricky to access, but through this awareness, we're bringing attention to mobilizing our ribs, especially in the back of the body and where the ribs and the spine meet, there's joints, to house and accommodate a fuller, nourishing, more supportive breath. Keeping that sense of acknowledging your boundaries, your physical perimeters of your being from the inside out. Release your arms at your sides, palms facing up. Let's rock the knees, windshield wiper the knees side to side. So through movement, we're also mapping out our habitual patterns of movement and our habitual patterns of being, and also exploring movement possibilities and options that we may have not explored in a while. And it's with these meaningful boundaries and awareness that we're able to also expand. We expand into the boundaries, the meaningful boundaries, whether it be physical or the ones that we set for ourselves in which to expand. We need structure to help contain and also to direct our flow, our life force. Bring it to center, let the knees rest in towards each other, palms together, and shoulder blades heavy to the ground. Rock side to side, squeeze your elbows straight. So we're freeing up the back fibers of the thoracic spine. And keep your head center. And let's bring it to center. Keep squeezing the elbows straight. Reach right arm up, right shoulder blade lifts. And keep alternating. Freeing up our wings. And then interlace the hands behind your head, elbows wide. Spread the wings, exhale, elbows close together, chin nod slightly inward. Use your hands to lift your heavy head, lift your tailbone slightly, and lower down. 4 more times, own breath. Elbows close together, hands lift the head, tailbone lift. Rounding through the spine. You can think of this as a variation of cat-cows. We're using the ground for feedback and feel back. And then last round, lower your head down, release your arms at your sides, extend your legs out in front of you. And let's point and flex the feet. It could be helpful to have your heels on the mat, press them gently down, and point and flex until you begin to rock through the upper body all the way up to your shoulders and your head, and make sure you're not taking yourself too seriously. Finding a sense of adaptability in the feet and through the body. Circle your ankles around 10 times each direction. Relaxing the face. Center, bending one knee at a time in towards your chest. And begin to rock side to side. And then rocking forward and back. And as you rock forward and back, you can release your hands for a little bit more functional core exploration. Palms pat the mat at the top. 2 more times. And last round, however way, make your way onto your hands and knees. That can be crossing at the ankles, hands in front, or sweep the feet behind. Let's prep our wrist, our expression, our tools of our heart's desire. So placing your hands at a different angle that you did before. So explore through extra rotation. That means you bring your fingertips towards facing the direction of your knees. And then internal rotation towards, not forcing, the other way. A couple more times like that. Until the fingertips land forward, and now back of the hands. So you're pausing at a moment as you shift the weight to one side and the other, changing the angle. You may need to walk the hands further away from you, in front of the shoulders, or closer to your knees. Great, and let's meet hands and knees, all fours. Cat-cows, with a different way of directing the breath than you normally do. So we'll inhale on the cow. Breathe into the back body, breathe into the spaces and places that need more awareness. And on your exhale, melt in between your shoulder blades, arch the spine, heart forward, broaden through the chest. Exhaling, rounding, or rather inhaling, rounding. And exhale. Do that about 3 more times, own breath. Inhaling on the rounding. And feel free to move in any way that feels good. You may find that bending the elbows in between the cat and the cow helps the movement feel more fluid. And then feeling the outer boundaries, the boundaries of your body, touching the boundaries of the earth. Right, so through this establishing of the self, establishing our boundaries, it's important to use the boundaries that our body is touching, for example, as a way to differentiate self and not self, but also connection. And through that connection, instead of collapsing into the boundary of the ground and collapsing our boundaries to the boundary of the ground, we can use it as leverage or a way to embrace resistance to push away. Okay, so where your body meets space, be aware of how you move your body through space and how you have an interaction with the boundaries through space. Downward facing dog, walk the wrists slightly in front of the shoulders. Curl the toes under, bring the hips back, and lift the hips up and back and pedal it out. Release your head. And noticing the connection of your outer boundary, the perimeters of your being touching the earth where they meet, and from there, press away as you expand and lengthen. So we're using the boundaries of our physical self to the ground to create a structure in which we can expand. And from that sense of support, also release. Walk your hands to the back of the mat until your heels touch the ground. Bend your knees so much that you feel the entire shape of this posture soften. And we're letting go. Sometimes we need to let go of our pre-established boundaries. Maybe we need to invite or actually adjust, invite a little bit more grace in the grit. Maybe we need a little bit more less permeability in our boundaries. Less and more, finding ease in the effort and adjusting according to the situation, to where we are in life, but we're letting go of those concepts, those boundaries that no longer serve us positively, even though they did at one point. Press down through the feet, and as you press down through the feet, belly flies in and up as you roll it on up, one vertebrae at a time. Once you're up, 3 shoulder circles at the top. Reorientate yourself in space in the standing position. Now let's walk to the top of the mat. And as you walk, feeling the contact, your physical boundaries, pressing away from the boundary of the earth. And we'll do a little bit more mapping out of the body, of inhabiting our bodies through tapping. So begin tapping at the top of your head. So we're using this physical feedback and feel back to map out our physical boundaries. We go to the forehead. And let's integrate the mantra of I am here. Right? This emotional, mental, spiritual boundary. I am here. I have permission to be here. Even the face. If you have glasses, you might have to go underneath your glasses. And the neck. Mapping out the entire front side of your body, the chest, the ribs, the sides. I am here. So like a healthy living cell, we are made of a bunch of healthy living cells. Go to the arms too. Healthy cells have a permeable border, boundary, but also enough of a sense of integrity to maintain form, the legs. And through this tapping, we're incorporating the concept that where attention goes, energy flows. We're mapping out the back of the legs, the entire physical perimeters of our 3-dimensionality, the back of the ribs, where you need to position your hands to get the back body. As we acknowledge our 3-dimensionality, let's meet in mountain pose, feet inner hip width distance apart. And root down, rise up, extended mountain pose. And breathing like you did from the inside out, acknowledging with your 3-dimensional breath, your 3-dimensionality. Interlace your fingers and release your index fingers and your thumbs. So with the support of your 3-dimensional breath, acknowledging your 3-dimensional physical beingness. We'll acknowledge our 3-dimensional beingness with some 3-dimensional movement, Tahina Jar. 5 times around each direction. So we have 3-dimensional potential for movement and exploring space with our 3-dimensional vehicle vessel. After you've done 5 times, each direction, separate the hands, root down and rise up. And as you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Hinge at your hips, soften the knees as you fold forward. Release your head. Come into a halfway lift, inhale. So the physical boundaries of yourself, of your feet, press away from the ground to find more length through the spine. And as you exhale, placing the hands on the ground, step back into downward facing dog. I just need to adjust my phone here. And in your downward facing dog, feel free to pedal it out. And now we'll explore something called rolling dog, rolling dog. So you're gonna imagine that you are like lava moving through some kind of other liquid. So even though you're one liquid, you maintain a sense of boundaries as you flow through another liquid. Lift your heels, bend your knees, and then drop the tailbone and roll forward into plank, and then bend the knees as you bring the hips back. And let's do that 5 more times. Own breath. 5 more times, own breath. So exploring how you move through space. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Hips up and back. And then lift your right leg up. Bend your right knee. And now place your right foot in between your hands. And pause there in this low lunge. You're gonna pause here in this low lunge. And then lift the upper body. And then bend the back knee and get super buoyant here. So from that connection of your physical boundary touching the earth, you're pressing away and allowing that buoyancy of your breath, or the support of your breath, to allow you to be more buoyant. And then find your center, lengthen the back leg, and then reach your arms up. Now maintain that sense of pushing away from the earth and the inner body, upper body being buoyant, mindfully as you can. So thinking up as you lower down, lower the back knee down. Bring your hands to your heart and twisting to the right. Hook your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. And make sure you're not collapsing here. Press down and bring your heart up to your thumbs. Stay here, curl the back toes under and lift up the back knee and breathe for 3, 2, and 1. Mindfully as you can, release the hands down to the ground and step it back into downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up, bend the left knee, left heel in towards your bottom. You can bend the right knee as you float the left foot in between your hands and pause. So feel the connection of your fingertips and your feet in the ground. And as mindfully as you can, press the ground away, lift the upper body up, bring your hands to your hips and bend the back knee, and feel and play with your relationship to the earth and through gravity. So that boundary of self is meeting the ground, your feet to the ground, and you're pressing away. You're playing with your relationship with gravity and the ground and space. And then find your center as you lengthen the back leg, lift the arms up. So the breath is supporting your 3-dimensionality. Now think up and lower the back knee down as you still maintain that sense of your boundaries meeting the air and the ground. Exhale, hands to your heart and twist them over to the left. So right elbow outside of left thigh. And again, make sure you're not collapsing into the boundaries of the ground. Press away and lift your heart up to your thumb and breathe. Stay here or curl the back toes under and lift the back knee. Inner body buoyant with your breath for 3, 2, and 1. Releasing your hands to the ground. Step it back into downward facing dog. Rolling waves, so like lava through some other liquid. 2 more times, rolling dog. And then this next one, let's meet in plank pose. Press the hands down, feet down, let the hips lower, and come into an upward dog variation. Roll it back, tuck the chin, round through the upper spine as you drop the tailbone and downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up, bend your right knee, right foot forward, send the back foot flat, and rise up into warrior two. I'm going to change angles so you can see me. So as we're establishing boundaries, warrior pose could be a great pose for embodying boundaries, right? Like a healthy cell, we have a permeable barrier, but also enough structure to maintain integrity, right? So think of those qualities in a warrior: ease and effort, grace and grit. Somewhere in your life that you would like to introduce more of this concept of boundaries, permeable yet maintaining integrity. And then we'll make our way into triangle pose. Straighten out your front leg, so pressing the boundaries of the physical self into the ground, hinging at the right hip crease, and let's maintain length through the side body, so only lowering your hand down to the upper shin. So we're creating, maybe it's a new boundary for you, new boundary of self, in which to maintain more space to house the abundance and the buoyancy of your breath. From the two halves of your pelvis, press down into the ground, lengthen through the limbs of your body. That includes your tailbone and your head. Then bend your right knee, right forearm to right thigh. I'm going to move to the side just a little bit. So extended side angle pose, left hand to left hip. Now look forward and down. You can use a block for this if you need. Walking your left foot forward until you bring more weight into the right foot. Feeling the boundary of your right foot into the ground. Shift the weight forward and make your way into a half moon pose. Now, as soon as the left leg lifts, activate the left foot. Stay here, left arm up to the sky for 3. Bend that right knee, bring fingertips to block your ground. 2 and 1. As mindfully as you can, reach back for the landing, warrior 2 to reverse warrior. Tilting back, and then exhale. Float your hands to the ground and step it back into downward facing dog. And again, take those 3 rolling dogs. And we'll meet downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up, bend the left knee. Left foot steps forward, spin the back foot flat. And coming into warrior 2. So in this warrior pose, again, we're maintaining a sense of boundaries. Right? So instead of collapsing our boundaries into the earth when we meet resistance or meet another boundary, we're using that boundary to press away. Ease and effort, grace and grit. You can have one soft point of focus, pass the middle finger of your front hand, or focusing on that which you would like to direct your flow. How would you like to use your meaningful boundaries? How would you like to channel your life force? Again, energy flows where you place your awareness. And we'll meet in triangle pose. So straighten out the front leg, setting a meaningful boundary of lowering less than you normally do. But from the 2 halves of the pelvis, press down to the feet. So the boundaries of your body and your feet touch the ground, and you're using that leverage of boundary meeting boundary to expand. And breathe. For 3, 2, and 1. Bend through the front knee, left forearm to left thigh, and making your way to half moon, right hand to right hip. Look past your left toes and walk your right foot forward. Now, as soon as you begin to feel the weight, shift more into your left foot. The right leg could lift, moving through space with intention and awareness. You can keep that bottom knee bent. It's all good to dance. Use a block if you need. Meaningful boundaries in which to expand. So using a block underneath your left hand is a meaningful boundary in which to expand yourself. Bend the left knee, reach back for the landing. Reverse warrior, tilting back. And as you exhale, float your hands down to the ground, downward facing dog. Let's go through that flow one more time. The boundary setting of the warrior as we flow into the other shapes. Right leg reaches up, bend the right knee. right foot forward. Feel the power on the path through the feet as you rise up into your boundary setting. Warrior two. Straighten the front leg, maintaining awareness of your feet, how you place it on the earth, triangle pose. Extended side angle, forearm to thigh. Left hand to left hip, walking the left foot forward, making your way into your half moon for about one breath. And then bend the right knee, reach it back, reverse warrior to land, and exhale. Hands to the ground, step it back into downward facing dog. Left leg lifts up, left foot forward. Back foot spins flat, finding your power on the path through those meaningful boundaries. Triangle pose. Bending the left knee, left arm to left thigh. Right hand to right hip, walk the right foot forward. Finding your half moon. Bend the left knee, reach back for the landing. Again, finding your power on the path. Reverse warrior. And exhale, hands to the ground. Step back, downward facing dog. 3 rolling dogs. And you're maintaining your connection, your physical boundary to the earth to direct your flow. We'll meet in plank and lower the hips, press the balls of the feet down, up dog variation, and flow it back, wave it back into downward facing dog. Now you may need blocks for this next one. Lift your right leg up, bend your right knee, and step your right foot forward, and step your back foot forward about half a step or a step. Fingertips on blocks or to the ground. I'm using blocks as a meaningful boundary in which to expand. We'll come into pyramid pose, but first press to the feet, press to the hands, and sway your hips side to side. We're also acknowledging our 3-dimensionality through the movement and then forward and back until you find your center and folding inward. Again, allow your breath to breathe into the physical perimeters of your being. And as mindfully as you can, press down, bend through the front knee, seated twist. Left knee outside of right foot as you come to a seat. Sitting bones heavy to the ground. Right arm behind your lower back as a kickstand. Left arm up. Inhale. Hug your left knee or rub your right knee in with your left elbow crease. Or hook the elbow. You can stay here if you want to play with your boundaries and a little arm balancing. Palms facing forward. You can lean back for a little momentum. Shift the weight forward onto your hands as you come onto your bottom shin. We'll curl the bottom toes under and lift your hips up as high as your elbows. And then you can rest left tricep outside of right knee and begin to play with your boundaries here as you sweep your hips and your knees to the left, belly and chest engage to the right. And as mindfully as you can, slowly releasing. And we'll make our way to downward facing dog from there. So sweep your right leg back and make your way into downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Now lift your left leg up, bend your left knee, and place your left foot in between your hands and step the back foot forward. Blocks underneath your hands, hips side to side, and forward and back. I like to use any kind of forward fold as a reminder to surrender, to let go, this breath, to this moment, letting go of how we think things should be as we meet ourselves where we are, and then folding, relaxing the shoulders. Allow the boundaries of the self through your feet to meet the earth and press away. So you're strengthening your legs, and from that safety of strength in your lower body, your upper body can be more supported by your breath. And slowly releasing, pressing down through the blocks, bending the left knee, tuck your right knee outside of your left foot, coming to a seated twist. Left hand behind you, reaching your right arm up, give yourself a hug. You can hook the elbow. You can play around with the arm balance if you like, a little twisted root. Palms facing away from you. You can rock back and forth a couple times until you rock onto your hands. Curl your bottom toes under. Lift your hips as high as your elbows. Shift the weight forward into your fingertips, the boundaries of your hands. And then sweep your feet, your hips, your knees, your feet to the right. Turn your gaze and your body to the left for 3, 2, and 1. Mindfully as you can, releasing. Now you can sweep the left leg back and around and make your way onto your hands and knees, all fours. 3 rolling waves. Lift the heels, bend the knees. The rolling dogs. As you play with how your physical boundaries move through space. And we'll meet in that upward dog variation. That upward dog variation to downward dog. Lower down to your knees, child's pose. Any variation you like. Big toes can touch, knees can be wide, or knees together. Arms can be straight ahead, or forehead to the ground as you sweep your arms to the side. You can even turn your head to one direction. It'll be a little bit more challenging if you have glasses. Allow this to be a posture of self-achieved submission. Right, sometimes it doesn't mean we're giving up or we're allowing our boundaries to completely dissolve, but rather the surrendering, letting go of how we think things, this situation should be, and reevaluating, reassessing the meaningful boundaries in which we set for ourselves, so they maintain just the right amount of permeability and structure for this situation for you. Slowly make your way onto your hands and knees, onto all fours. Cross at your ankles. Make your way onto your bottom. Now you may need to use a block or an extra roll mat, blanket, or bolster. We'll come into bound angle pose. The height of the block or the bolster or the blanket could be very helpful for finding your nice natural curve in your lumbar spine. The sitting bones on your raised up surface area. For this variation, bring the 4 corners of your feet together and bring your toes to your shins. So now we're not only feeling the boundaries of our sitting bones to the blanket or the ground or the outer edges of the feet meeting the ground, but also we're feeling the boundaries of ourselves. Hold on to the ankles. Now press the 4 corners of the feet together. And from there, widen your knees from the 2 halves of your pelvis. Hug the elbows close into your sides. Now pull the ankles energetically back to acknowledge the natural curve in the lower back. And from those boundaries, press the feet together and folding forward, hinging forward. Keep the back of the skull nice and long. Press the 4 corners of the feet together, lengthening the knees away from the pelvis for 3, 2, and 1. Mindfully as you can, make your way on up. Keeping that height, bring the knees together and you can extend the legs forward. I'm going to keep the height but change the angle. Bringing the feet inner hip width distance apart or together. Reaching the arms up, pressing the heels and the sitting bones, so the heels of the pelvis, the heels of your feet down into the ground. And as you exhale, maintain that length, reaching for your shins or the outer edges of your feet as you find your forward fold, and letting go of having your body serve whatever shape you think your body needs to fit into, and allow this shape to serve you. You're creating, again, a posture of surrendering and letting go, right, to how we think things should be as we literally meet our inner selves. Right? So as we check in with ourselves, we're able to meet ourselves in a way that is more truthful and create boundaries that maintain a sense of integrity, but not rigidity, which is different. There needs to be a balance of adaptability and permeability. Relax the shoulders away from your ears. Another 3, 2, and 1. Slowly releasing. Feel free to take any other shape you need to round out your practice. If not, we'll go right into resting pose. You could use the extra roll mat or blanket to place underneath your knees as you lie down. Or you can have your knees bent like we did in the beginning, feet wide, knees rest in towards each other. And using this sense of self and boundaries to invite in more of a sense of less, or more of a sense of non-doing rather than doing. So feeling where your physical boundaries, where your sense of self meets the boundaries of your mat, of the ground, of the rolled blanket or mat underneath your knees, as a way of accepting external support. So the first step in the process of letting go is accepting and allowing yourself to be supported right now externally. So whatever's touching the ground, let that be heavier. Let the points of contact be heavier. As you soften from the inside out, you're accepting and allowing yourself to be supported by your breath. As you soften from the inside out, allowing the boundary of the mat, of the earth, to give you a sense of support and a boundary in which to release. Softening the space in between your ears. You can relax your jaw. On the next exhale, allow again those points of contact to become even heavier below the earth. And stay here as long as you're able, as long as you have the time, and if not, begin to deepen your breath, bringing movement back to your fingers and your toes. Gently turn your head side to side. And with awareness, bending one knee at a time, in towards your chest. Give yourself a big hug of gratitude for investing this time on your mat. And with awareness, roll on over to whatever side you like. Pause there. And with awareness. And as the last thing to come on up, and as you make your way to a comfortable seated position, eyes could be closed or soft gaze. Overlap your hands on top of your heart as you think of one thing in your life that you are grateful for, no matter how big or small. We'll end together with one cleansing breath. First, empty out all the air from your lungs. Inhale through your nose, fill up. Exhale, ha. And as always, gratitude for practicing together. May it all be of benefit to us and everybody else around us. Namaste. Thank you for joining